Thank you for joining us. And I would like to introduce Lindsay from Zaplox and Madeline from ALICE. They will be hosting this webinar today, and I will let both of you take it from here. So thank you so much. And there you go.
Thanks, Meryl. Hi, everyone. My name is Madelyn DePrey. I'm a VP of Account Management at ALICE. And before joining ALICE 5 years ago, I worked in hotel operations myself. And my role at ALICE gives me the great privilege of talking to hoteliers all over the world every day.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lindsay Wenger, Vice President of Sales for Zaplox. I, as well, am a hotel veteran, worked in hospitality operations, sales, and marketing, also now on the vendor side. And Madeline and I are really excited today to have a conversation about the future of guest technology that, just face it, it's already here.
Yeah, Lindsay, I don't know about you, but I am sure excited to travel again. And we at ALICE and Zaplox certainly believe that travel will be returning with a vengeance. And we're pretty confident that that's going to change a little bit. If you run a hotel, technology is going to be the way that hospitality is done. So we want to walk you through a few examples of what that might look like in the next 20 minutes.
Thanks, Madeline. Okay, so the world has decided to press fast forward on us. More than ever, it is now more important to have safety and control at the top of our list. So how are we going to give it from the hospitality aspect? Zaplox and ALICE, we feel like we have an answer to really have those expectations of reset for people who prefer contactless, which is really think about all the things that happen in our daily lives, from banking, dining, exercise, movies, school, shopping, work, everything is remote and contactless. So anything that we involve our lives in today, and any of these businesses, let's just see these examples and brands you see in front of you that have pivoted to contactless services are thriving. And so how does this come to fruition for hotels? We know travel will come back, but it just won't look the same. So between Zaplox and ALICE, we believe our partnership means improved technology for your hotel. Zaplox is the guest facing, ALICE is the staff facing. The combo of the two brings hospitality to future state, and we think we have what you need to stay connected in a more meaningful way for your guests. So in our hospitality bubble, there is no vision without tech working in your hotel without a full integration to the PMS. And guess what? Zaplox and ALICE know PMSs very well, so we have you covered.
Yeah, and we think the best way to illustrate this is through a tangible story. You know, this is not a work of fiction. This is actually what hotels and guests are experiencing with a little added technology.
Great, Madeline. So let's get started. So let's all pretend that this is a couple that is traveling post-pandemic. Mr. and Mrs. Becker are traveling for 1 week to Hotel X. They've actually booked their hotel stay on the hotel's app because they trust the hotel safety measures and love the location. What's great here is that on the ALICE platform, everything is logged. So when the guest checks in, everything is connected perfectly for them, for the staff to be able to service the guests.
Yeah, and we find over and over again that messaging is the preferred way of communicating. But hotels have historically not had that vehicle of communicating directly to their guests. Well, that's about to change. Hotels are now going to be in a very privileged position to communicate directly with their guests prior to and during their stay. In this case, Mr. Becker is reaching out to the hotel 2 weeks prior to his arrival, requesting an anniversary dinner to be arranged. While the staff can respond instantly, they can turn his request into an actionable time-stamped ticket, which will be followed up upon his arrival. And Mr. Becker receives instant response, instant satisfaction. He gets what he's looking for ahead of his arrival. So what we're seeing here is personalized custom communication that can be responded to at scale by leaner teams.
Wonderful, Madeline. Thank you. So how exciting is this? It's arrival day. Hey, we all know we're dreaming about this in our own personal lives, right? So Mr. and Mrs. Becker find their reservation in the app. They update their registration card details. They pre-authorize their credit card in the app. They actually fully check in and receive a contactless mobile key, all while bypassing the front desk. Talk about instantaneous service. And this allows the front desk for efficiency, for scale at check-in with limited staff. And from the back of the house standpoint, any of the messages as your operation changes, such as hygiene measures or different notifications, kind of broadcast message, that's kind of what happens here after check-in. This can happen either from the ALICE platform or the Zaplox platform.
And Lindsay, once people check in and they settle into their stay, they don't just want services. They want services to be done their way. So oftentimes what we see is that guests historically have been able to go to the lobby, to go to the concierge, to request specific things to enhance their stay. Well, that might look a little different right now. So as you're seeing here, Mr. Becker was able to reach out to the staff of the hotel through messaging, requesting a bottle of champagne and roses to be on the bed. He is a great husband, by the way. The staff received that request and they were able to dispatch that into actionable time-specific tickets to the pertinent departments that would need to follow up with customizable workflows, customizable details to ensure that the Beckers get what they need for their very romantic anniversary. Well, things will inevitably go wrong, such as the dreaded demise of the HVAC unit in Mr. and Mrs. Becker's room. Mr. Becker was able to report the issue in live time, which dispatched to the engineer who carries the ALICE staff app on his mobile device. So even though he's not sitting at a computer throughout the day, he received a notification that there was a defect with all the pertinent details and the fact that the guests themselves reported the issue. So he or his team can follow up accordingly. Meanwhile, the front office also received a notification and they were able to apologetically respond, swiftly move the Beckers into a new room, and ensure that that new room is updated in both Zaplox and ALICE, and the requests for amenities will follow them, such as the roses and the champagne, to their new guest room. So again, you're seeing that the guests were able to have the issue resolved and responded to immediately and tracked for future reference. So as a hotel manager, I would know that that issue happened in that room and I can check the state of my HVAC units in the Becker's previous room. Additionally, I can follow up and reach out to the guests as needed. So you're seeing that hospitality again at scale with measurable statistics behind it.
Yeah, that's great, Madeline. I mean, how many times do you need a room move for whatever reason? And you have to go down to the front desk, you have to pick up another key, maybe someone's not available. So the fact that you could just instantaneously communicate with the staff and to be able to have it in real time, let's face it, with the white labeled app, there's a great level of information. As you can see here, the Beckers can now move on to the hotel directory and look at tours and activities and amenities. So Mr. and Mrs. Becker actually asked for an additional pillow to be delivered, which will go to her new room, which Madeline just described was that room move. And Mr. Becker reserves a tennis court for the late afternoon. So let's take it a step further. So the ALICE platform contains all of this, amenity, just updates information and follows the guest in real time. So this will be able to happen for the staff while they're on property to anticipate the level of service that the guest needs and communicate with them in a timely manner, but also keep it for their future stay. And then I think it's really important to really think about when a guest is actually checked in, if you haven't caught them at the pre-arrival ancillary revenue upsell, it's so important right now because occupancy is not going to return right away to 2019 levels. We really need to think about our ancillary revenue and how we're going to showcase that and market that in the app.
Yes, and when you're at a hotel and you want to take advantage of connecting with the staff in live time and gain their specific recommendations specific to where you are staying. Well, using the Zaplox app, the Beckers were able to reach out to the staff and request things like an excursion, a romantic excursion to enhance their experience, which the staff received and responded to and was able to generate specific itineraries, confirmation letters, confirming that with the guests. And the other thing is, when you're at a hotel and you just want to be able to have your room cleaned when you go back to it. Well, the beauty of ALICE is at the same time as staff, you want to know and be able to service the room accordingly. So if the housekeeping staff wants to be able to go and know when the guest isn't there and service the room at a pertinent time. Well, Mrs. Becker wanted her room to be cleaned while she was enjoying a sunset cruise. So she actually communicated that directly to the staff. The staff received that in ALICE with a time-specific ticket and was able to service her room at the time that she requested so she could return and prepare for her evening activities.
And that's great, Madelyn. Thank you. So sadly, we're at the last day of vacation for the Beckers, but exciting for Mrs. Becker, the hotel app notifies her that the spa has reopened. So she grabs a spa treatment for the early afternoon. Madelyn, really cool here. What happens in the ALICE platform after the guests can make a spa reservation?
Yes, Lindsay. So the staff would receive that request. They'd be able to confirm it and have all of the pertinent details, such as the type of treatment they're looking to have, confirm it with the spa team on their end, and provide an itinerary that's branded to the hotel. In addition, the staff can recognize the fact that, oh, Mrs. Becker, your spa booking ends at about 5. May I recommend providing you with a dinner reservation? The staff can pull from a list of curated vendors that the concierge team has logged in ALICE already and provide them a recommendation, further enhancing their stay.
This is excellent, Madelyn. So everything that we showed you that during the stay that the Beckers added on as ancillary amenities, ancillary revenue that the hotel has made, it's departure day, sadly, but the Beckers are soaking up every ounce of sunshine and relaxation they can. The great part about having an app is that it's contact-free checkout. So the Beckers can be at the pool having their last pina colada, asking the waiter to put to post their bill. They can actually review their folio in the app and then check themselves out. Once they're checked out, the key is automatically deactivated. But there's a really cool feature in ALICE. So Madelyn, do you mind talking about that?
Yeah, Lindsay, that's right. So once the guest checks out on the app, it will update to the ALICE side. And ALICE has a housekeeping module where the staff is able to look at all of the departures on a given day. They'd be able to see in live time when that room has become vacant and be able to go service it accordingly. But we can take that a step further where ALICE has a functionality that says there's a very specific thing that needs to happen immediately upon checkout, such as stripping the room or doing a deep clean or doing some sort of room check. Well, that can be dispatched into a ticket in live time upon that checkout event, so the staff can follow up immediately and prepare for the day's arrival, further enhancing the guests that are arriving that day because their room will be ready on time.
Super cool. So really the benefit here is that the Beckers, while using the hotel app throughout their stay, the offers pertain directly to where they were in their mobile guest journey. So you have those pre-arrival messages, those post-check-in messages, those, tennis court bookings. I need more pillows. I need my, HVAC looked at. I need a room move. All of these things being able to just be consolidated into the guest profile in ALICE, number one, will give a better level of service, right? An anticipatory service for the Beckers to return even next year. But what's great is even when at post stay, you still are able to market to them to invite them back for maybe you have a, return promotion, return guest promotion rate on a certain, review site. And in this case, the couple would like to have a transportation to the airport. So it's so important from a concierge perspective and the concierge platform that ALICE has, which is very powerful, to be able to anticipate that service that, the Beckers do need this car to make sure the car is there. So everything just feels flawless and seamless. So this is just a smidgen of an example of what hotel guests go through for their guest stay. And it's going to be different for every single property based on your location, the demographics, and so forth.
Yeah, and Lindsay, we want to kind of bring this full circle. So we believe that the convergence of our two companies will help hoteliers achieve the following: elevating the guest experience, driving new revenue streams, and streamlining the operation. So ultimately, what you'll see is reduced labor costs and hospitality, which we all want to get back to, provided at scale with maybe leaner teams in this new reality.
Absolutely. So Madelyn and I want to really thank you for your time. We wanted to kind of make it short and sweet, tell you a little story about how our technology works together and converges for, guest satisfaction. We would love to hear from you. Please feel free to contact myself or Gabriel who's from ALICE. But in the meantime, in this live webinar, we're going to pass it over to Meryl, who's going to show us a quick survey. And then also we can go to any questions that have come in throughout this live webinar. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lindsay and Madeline. That was fantastic. We did just launch a survey, so it should pop up right in Zoom for you, but let us know what your next steps are. Would you like more information? Are you just here to learn? Please feel free to reach out to us. But also, we are happy to answer any questions from anyone here. If you'd like to type it into the Q&A box. And we'd be happy to have Lindsay and Madeline answer those questions. So we'll take a look, we'll see if any are coming in. Okay, so we do have a question, and the question is, are you implementing any AI or text recognition to handle simple guest requests like towels or Wi-Fi?
So I think, Madeline, that would be for you from a text messaging service, because ALICE does have an SMS broadcaster. Do you want to maybe highlight that?
Sure. So a couple things. So one, in terms of AI and wanting to look into more automated response or artificial intelligence, Alice does have an open API, so we'd be happy to have that conversation with you. But today, Alice does provide SMS, standard messaging service. So what that can look like in a hotel is you can set rules based on a guest's arrival. So let's say that if a guest wanted to, if you wanted to be able to send a message one day prior to arrival to all of your guests and include a link describing your safety measures or a link describing how to make a reservation at the restaurant. That can be automated to send prior to the guest check-in. Same thing with if we want to set a rule that says upon check-in, a guest receives a message that says, thank you for checking in, rate your check-in experience, for example. So we can definitely automate when a message is received via text message for your guests to help kind of streamline that. And then we can also help you provide templated responses that the staff can just choose from to make it very clean and very on brand when you're responding to your guests at scale. And happy to talk further about kind of partnerships with AI with the ALICE team as well.
Great. Thank you, Madeline. We've got a lot of questions coming in from chat and our Q&A box, so thank you, everyone. I have a question. This one is for you, Lindsay. It says, can you turn off the option of having the key shut off when checkout is done?
Can you have the option to have the key shut off? So absolutely. So when checkout is complete, what happens that from the technical standpoint is that the checkout is done in the PMS, and that automatically deactivates the key because we have the two-way connection. So the key will actually, the mobile key will turn gray and it will be inactive. And of course, through our portal, which we will configure for the property and map to all the different rooms, we're able to have staff, let's just say, I don't know, a guest would like to extend their stay and they have the hotel room until 4. That can be manually done in the portal to extend the key.
Great, perfect, thank you. I have a question for both of you a little bit, and maybe one of you can speak to what's the scenario when the booking is made through a booking channel and direct contact with the guest is limited?
Yeah, so unfortunately, this is the ever waking story of, frenemies with the OTAs, let's just say, or a third booking party where you don't have the guest information. I encourage the hotels, and I've had a lot of these conversations in the past year, is that it's very important to have that pre-message that a lot of these like third party booking channels are allowing a message to go out to the guests on behalf of the third party to be able to put your app link in there. So guests know that, hey, if we could find you by last name and reservation number or last name, phone number, you want to try to get that communication in as possible. But the nut is not cracked yet with the third parties because you would need to have an identifier in order to find the reservation. So if you do have that as a field in your PMS from a third party booking, like, so for instance, a phone number, then we'd be able to pull up the reservation in the app, and the guests would be able to check in.
Yeah, and I can piggyback that on the Alice side. So Alice does have a texting functionality, which would allow you to have a true 10-digit area, with an area code phone number that's specific to your region. So if you wanted to promote that number on your website, put it on your signature line to your email communication, guests can text into that number. And if you don't have their number because they came in through an OTA, we can have a templated response that says, kindly confirm your reservation, and then it can be linked into the reservation on the Alice side. So it might even be a means to collect some of those phone numbers that would be missing through the OTA process.
And just to piggyback on that, it's a great opportunity to then, in the Alice message, that stock message that comes back to the guest, to say, by the way, we have mobile check-in, please give us your reservation information. And we're able to, have that identification criteria to do a check-in.
Great. Perfect. Thank you. I've seen at least 2 questions come in about this. So I'd love input from both of you, but one of the questions is, do you connect to all PMSs or just a few? And I was hoping that both of you could answer that one as well.
Sure, I'll go ahead first. So Zaplox connects to the major PMSs in globally. We have our listing on our website, and then certainly we're open to expanding our PMS network. We just have to have that conversation offline. So I think, Ron, you were the one who had put this in. If you have any questions about a specific PMS, please feel free to reach out to me directly. We'll have that conversation.
Yeah, similar answer on the Alice side. We are growing the number of integrations that we have with PMSs every day. It's something that we're very proud of, and we have great relationships with those vendors. But we also have an open API. So if you do use a system that's unique and you wanted to be able to open up the conversation, we have an easy way to build integrations at scale.
Perfect. Thank you both. This one, Lindsay, is for you. I have 2 questions about Zaplox. The question is this a native app or is it cloud-based?
So to answer that, in order to have a mobile key, from a security standpoint, it is through a native app. So what we've shown you today is all native app, but there are website components. So not everything is going to be native, but it does need to be downloaded from the App Store for security purposes to work with the Bluetooth locks and on the guest door.
Perfect. Thank you. And then another question, and this one is actually for Lindsay, for you, and then Madelyn as well. What different languages does Zaplox work in? And then also Alice for messaging.
Ooh, that's a great question. So our standard is English, but we do give a sheet to fill out. So if the hotel provides the translation, we'll populate that into the app. And then of course, from a messaging standpoint, any staff that would probably speak the local language for said region, then, that communication would go back and forth, freehand. Madelyn, what about from Alice?
Yeah, so we also see that, there are needs in the hotel to support other languages for your staff. And so on the staff side, Alice does have a full Spanish option that does offer live time translation. And we also do have a list of other languages that we have sort of a Google Translate option on. So happy to kind of provide you a list if we talk further on what those languages would be. And then furthermore, if you wanted to put some of your options in certain languages or have the chat be in certain languages, we can support that as well.
Great, thank you so much. Lindsay, another quick one for you. Are there third-party hardware providers for the BTLE install?
So for the Bluetooth enabled locks, you would buy those locks from the lock vendors themselves. Again, our list of integrations are listed on our website. So I'll just rattle off the major ones, which make up basically 80% of the world commercial and hotel market. And that's Assa Abloy, Vincard, Dormakaba, SafeLock, and Salto systems. So, and there's many others that follow suit, but those are typically the top ones. And we connect with all of them digitally through our back end and through connection points.
Perfect. Thank you. So we are coming up on the half-hour mark, so we'll just do one, maybe two more questions. If we don't answer your question right now, please be assured that we will send you an email right after this. If you've left your name in the chat with your question, we will definitely get back to you. But just a quick question right now for you, Madelyn, is does ALICE support any messaging other than SMS?
Yes, great question. So we do have WhatsApp newly. So we do have a WhatsApp integration. So we're happy to work with you on that. We also do support Facebook messaging. So other messaging channels, we can certainly have that conversation. And taking that a step further, we again I mentioned the fact that we have an open API. So if you have a chat function on your website or something, we through Zaplox, we can support other messaging verticals as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Lindsay, I think this will be the last question. We're coming up on 30 minutes, but this question is, would the app that the guest downloads, which is the Zaplox app, would it be branded or would it be personalized to the hotel?
Absolutely personalized. We are in a personalized, bring your own device, hotel branding all the way, colors, logos, font, all of the promotions. We want to showcase the best of the best for each of the properties. So think about your website as your big marketing tool and your storyteller for, what a guest can do at your property. We want to condense that into the, on a mobile device in the app for the guest. So absolutely, it's white labeled.
Perfect. Fantastic. That's great to know. And for ALICE and for Zaplox, what sort of devices do people need? Is it Android and iOS? Are there any specifications for users on the staff side or on the guest side?
It works for either.
Same thing with the staff app. So we are iOS or Android friendly, and we recommend investing in a handful of devices for your line level staff, but it can certainly be used on your own devices as managers.
Exactly.
Perfect. Fantastic. Well, I think that's about it. We can go ahead and wrap it up. Lindsay and Madelyn, do you have any last parting words for us about the future of guest technology or anything else you'd like to share?
I think we're just excited to hear from you and excited to see, what has transformed in your operation. And, certainly with this pandemic, we've been tasked to rethink how we operate our hotels and how we communicate with our guests in a meaningful way. So I'm really excited to explore that journey with you and to have that conversation.
Yes, I would piggyback that with let's get back to travel.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, we appreciate your time. This was fantastic. Everybody who registered for the webinar, we will be sending you a recording. You should see that in your email tomorrow. So you'll be able to go back and reference it or share it with anyone as well. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Lindsay or Madelyn. We also have the info@ALICE platform email up. So please don't hesitate to reach out. If you had questions in here and left your name with them, we can email you later today or tomorrow, and we'll certainly answer those questions for you. So thank you again for joining us today, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you.
Excellent. Stay safe. Happy New Year, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.